Hello. We will talk about involvement. And the main points that we will cover is what it is, how to measure it, the causes of it, the effect of it, and the marketing implications. So, what is involvement? Simply explained, it's how important or relevant something is in someone's life. The level of involvement is very personal, therefore, for marketers, it's more valuable to categorize different group of customers and not products.
So, how do we measure involvement? Well, one way to measure involvement is to ask questions to the customers. And when we ask questions to the customers about the involvement, we want to do several different kinds of questions at the same time in order to capture different nuances. So what we can do is we can ask how important something plays in the role of someone's life, or how significant it is in that person's life. Or we can also ask how much time they spend thinking about it. And when we've figured out the involvement for different customers, we can also segment them into different groups.
Thank you so much. So there are three main things that are likely to influence the level of involvement. The first one has to do with the link to the customer's self-concept. Who am I? So for a marketer for a clothing brand, for example, they might cut the picture in their campaign photos below the neck of the models in order for the consumer more easily, it's more easily for them to see themselves in the clothes. The second point has to do with the link to customers' needs. How important is the product in order to satisfy a specific need? And finally, it has to do with the perceived risk if not buying the product. For a person with problems with their smelling, for example, with how much they sweat, it might be a risk in social situations if they don't buy a deodorant, for example.
Thank you, Melvin. Consequences of involvement. A high level of involvement means that the customer is more engaged when it comes to the search for information, more comparison between alternatives, perceived difference between alternatives, as well as preferences for alternatives.
Marketing implications. How can we think about involvement when it comes to marketing?
So, when it comes to low involvement strategy, there are three things that we should consider. One is to emphasize the visual aspects of the product. Another is to focus on few attributes. And the third is that we need to maintain a high level of repetition for the marketing activities. Over to you.
High involvement strategies is about provide rich information, and it's about make comparison between alternatives easy, as well as stress differences between alternatives.
So, and there's also a way for marketers to change the level of importance or the level of involvement for a customer. And it all goes back to building links to the different factors that could influence the level of importance. And that is, as I said before, the self-concept, the consumer's need of the product, and also the perceived risk if not buying the product. So stressing these factors are very important.